Today we have a very special package from TronicsFix. Steve, that's right, I bought this from him, so let's take a look at what we have. Inside here we have a Nintendo 3DS and some bubble wrap. There it is, an ice white Nintendo 3DS with a crack on the front there. I sent this to him when I sold it to him for $25 2 years ago. He kept it in his warehouse and now finally he got around to fixing it. So let's take a look. Now the system isn't in the best condition. There's some missing parts and stuff that I didn't realize because this system was scrapped for parts. As you see there's a missing screw, the charge port doesn't look the best, and one of the trigger parts internally is missing. However, why did I purchase this system back from him? Well, even though it's not in the best condition, this is a pretty neat Nintendo 3DS. Even though there's some scratches here, the stick's not in the best condition, and the screens are pretty dirty. Now, he was able to actually get this thing to turn on, which I'll get to in a second. Now, before we can inspect this, we are going to need to clean it up. So let me just wipe it off here and get it clean. Alright, looking much better. We can actually try and turn it on. The battery light flashes, and let's see if we get anything. There we go. We actually got it to turn on. This was like a dream of mine 2 years ago. Now let's see if we can get it to charge. Okay, it's not charging. You have to hold the charger at a very specific location. I remember this. You have to hold it and then press on it to get it to charge because the charge port is failing, but at least it still works for now. Alright, so when I close it and then I open it, it doesn't want to turn on anymore. So you have to hold this button and power all the way off and then power all the way back on, and then it will turn on, which is a little frustrating. So let's see if it can actually boot and what does it have on it. As you can see here, it is just running a standard stock Nintendo 3DS firmware. However, as you can tell, it's a little different. It looks older, and now you see that bar on the top of the bottom screen? Well, that's an older firmware. This firmware predates that of 2014, as you can see that brightness option right there. However, unfortunately, the motherboard is still having problems. I was able to pull some footage from Steve's video, so let's take a look. Here is the appearance my system made in the video in the top right corner, so if you want to check that out, please go on. It's a very good video. So as you can see here, he tried powering it on, and I recall this issue. It wouldn't do anything, a blue light of death. He tracked it down to the motherboard, taking it open. You can see the left trigger is missing, only the right one is still there. The latch was broken off by the person that scrapped this for parts. As you can see, he's taking a donor latch and had to reseat it onto the latch connector, which is a very tedious job, and I'm very happy he did this. So he took it and latched it down, and then he put the battery in, yet still nothing. It wouldn't power on at all now, and it's the exact same issue. So he took it out, the motherboard, and then he inspected it one more time and noticed an incredible amount of liquid damage, which is insanely bad because that means the motherboard will basically be unrecoverable. So inspecting it a lot, he saw it all over the entire length of the motherboard, the tripped water indicators. It just made sense this motherboard was going to be unrepairable. But he decided to take a nice good cleaning to it and see if that could fix anything. Clean it with some isopropyl alcohol. He put it in and it booted. And I could see here the old firmware, which had the brightness option in the top left. So I decided to buy it to check out that firmware. So now let's see what we can do with a crashing and burning motherboard. Alright, let's see what we can do with what we have. Now, checking these folders, we see nothing but standard applications and just more standard stuff, except for this DSiWare game, which is kind of cool. I bet all of these folders were created when some sort of problem occurred. I don't really know why there is 4,000 of these folders. Just kidding, but there is a lot of them. Motherboard crashed again, so let's just power it off. Power it back on. Let's just see real quick what firmware this device has. Going in the system settings, we can see that this device has firmware 4.5.0-10J, which is from December 4th, 2012. No parental controls, good. So this is an extremely old update, and it crashed again. Well, this Nintendo 3DS is definitely troubled and deserves a lot more than the condition it's in, like the lens being scratched, it missing all these odds and ends, probably going to replace the circle pad. You know, it's not in the best condition, but coming back to me after all these years, you know, just 2, but still quite a long time, I'm going to give it a good treatment. And now, why is it worth it? This actually is an earlier variant that matches the firmware version. From November 2011 to September 2013, this specific model is actually a little uncommon. The pure white model is a bit more common. Now, we are going to restore this system eventually on the channel, probably going to swap the motherboard, but give it a bit of an overhaul and start enjoying this thing again after the past 12 years this device has been discontinued. Now, I got this thing with my new 2DS XL around the same time, so these things are actually kind of brothers, which is kind of funny. So anyways, thank you for watching this relatively short little review. I'll see you guys next time. Please subscribe, like, and comment. Bye-bye.